know that in 1945, that's where the glacier was, where the house was. But the glacier has last year it receded 6 to 8 meters, so it's shrinking quite fast, melting. But the house you see on the left-hand side, the red house, it's famous for 2 reasons. Well, it's the place where the mountaineers of Iceland operate from, and you can do like snowmobiling tours with them and other things. There was a guy that used to work there that was dating Mel B from Spice Girls. That's one of the reasons why it's famous. But also, this is where the glacier was in 1991, right over there. Well, most of the rocks that are around us come from either the volcanoes or they traveled with the glacier, and then when the glacier melts, the rocks and stones are left behind. And you could say that we are driving in the Icelandic desert right now. Oh, really? Glacier. I know it can be. It sounds a bit surreal. We're driving on this glacier, Langjokull, which means long glacier, and we like to keep things simple in Iceland, so many of the names we have, mountains and glaciers and stuff, it's basically just what it is. So it's called Long Glacier because it's long. And the whole glacier is 55 kilometers long. And to put that into perspective, that is the same distance from Keflavik Airport to Reykjavik. So it's pretty long. And on the width is around 20 kilometers. The deepest point of ice is 700 meters, and then the highest point of the actual glacier is 1,400 meters above sea level, or around that. But we're not going to go as high as that. We're only going to go up to 1,260 meters above sea level. We're still going pretty high, and that's where the tunnel is. And these cars we bought them from NATO in Germany. I think they're built in Austria, and these trucks were used to launch missiles or rockets. So they're like really like heavy. They're 20 tons. They can carry up to 20 tons. But because Iceland is a very peaceful country, we don't have an army. I don't know if you knew that. So we had to sign an agreement that we wouldn't sell it to any other countries that do have armies to use it for military operations. But you know, when the glacier melts, we can always break that contract and sell it. Did you notice the pipes that were connected to the tires? Well, these pipes, they are used to inflate and deflate the air from the tires. And as we were driving on the normal roads, we have to have a lot of air in the tires, because otherwise we would damage them. He's got an app on his phone, so he can control each and every tire just by pressing one button. So it's very easy. Like a few years ago, you'd have to do it all. We got to really, like, sometimes when we're driving in complete white out, so we can't see anything. But we can still go up because we just use the GPS system. And in the winter we've got like very simple for a long time. And like before we had maps, you know, maybe not everyone would know that this was a really big glacier. You can't really see it, but there's another glacier over there to your left, or 9 o'clock. This glacier is called Eric's Glacier. And some of you might be familiar with Eric. It's called Eric the Red. Have you heard about him? Yes. He's the father of Leif Erikson, who was one of the first guys to go to America. And his story was that he was from Norway, and he was like he was quite a crook, you could say that. He was like he really liked. Well, good. Where are you from? India. India? And you?
Spain.
Sorry? Spain? And where are you from?
Chicago.
Chicago. I've heard there's really good restaurants in Chicago. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Where do you come from?
I come from Iceland. Yeah. I was born and raised on this glacier. No, I'm kidding. I'm from Reykjavik. Yeah, the capital. And where are you from? India? And you? Sorry? Germany. Nice. And we here in the Yellow Jackets, we are from Iceland. It's amazing. It's like being in an airplane and suddenly you go above the clouds. Do you know what? I've been talking to you, I've given you a lot of information now. I'm just going to enjoy the view and take it all in for a bit. But of course, if you have any questions, you can either shout my name and ask me the question, or you can play a game called the whistling game. And then you would start in the back, whisper the question to the person in front of you, and eventually you will reach me. So it's your choice. Up to 1,260 meters above sea level right now. We're going to split you into two groups, and I'm still going to ask you to wait until I ask you to stand up, just for safety reasons. And when we go in, there's like a mat on the floor for the first 50 meters, and I'm going to ask you to stay on the mats as you're walking down. Because. If you read between the lines, or if you can see two lines, then you can see how much ice has been added onto the glacier in 1 year. So this one is from 2011, this one is from 2010. But as you can see, this line is a lot darker and thicker than the other one. Why do you think that is? It's from 2010. It's Eyja Fjallajökull, as you all knew, right? Eyja Fjallajökull. Okay. Anyone forget again? But now I'm going to teach you how to say it. Break it down. Eyja Fjallajökull. Eyja Fjallajökull. Once more. Eyja Fjallajökull. Yeah. Okay, that's very good. Eyja Right now we are in the first room they made, or like a cave, and I sometimes call it a selfie cave, so I'm drawing a picture, and I'm going to use this canvas here. Well, the difference between a glacier and a mountain with a bunch of snow in it is that glacier has at least 50 meters of ice and snow, at least. But of course we've got more on this glacier. So most glaciers are either formed on top of mountains or valleys. And in this instance, we've got two volcanoes. Two volcanoes underneath us, but they're not active yet, so that's good. Hopefully. Otherwise I wouldn't dare to work here, I think. Well, and the way this snow gets on top of this mountain, or these volcanoes, well, this is a 3D image. Look at this. There's snowfall, then most of that snow melts away, then we get another layer of snow, and then most of that melts away, and it starts to pile up like a stack of pancakes. And that's why you see all these lines like on the walls. It's basically layers of snow that's been compressed, and the snow, as it compresses, it turns into burn, and when it gets further down, it will turn into glacial ice. And then the acoustic is going to change, and maybe the texture a little bit. So the movement of the ice is constantly going down and to the sides. It's always moving. And in fact, this ceiling, it comes down 1 millimeter a day. Well, 1 millimeter. There was once a lady that thought I said 1 meter a day. It'd be something. It'd be too much. But it's just 1 millimeter, but still it's quite a lot, if you look at it in 1 year. So we always have to do adjustments to the tunnel. So with this pressure going down, at a certain point the ice just gets so dense that you can't compress it even more. So that's why some of this pressure is being sent back up, and in addition to the rough landscape underneath, so it's not always going in even directions, that's why we get these crevasses that open up. But they only happen in the first maybe 20 to 40 meters. So like if you imagine a Snickers bar and you start to break it, then it's just the chocolate coating that breaks.
but then the caramel is still holding it together, you know? You like Snickers? Yeah? I do. So it's the chocolate coating that breaks, but then as the glacier moves further down, or that part of the crevice, then the glacier has magic power. It can heal itself. So it opens up in a V shape, then it heals itself as it goes down, and eventually it'll just be like a line, as you saw as you were driving up here, just a line on the surface. So that's really cool. But I had a question earlier about why we made the tunnel up here. And the answer to that is that there is something called the snow line, or the equilibrium line, the more like word suited for this professor. No, I'm kidding. The equilibrium line or the snow line. And that is right here in 1,260 meters. And what it means is that if you're above it, then the glacier moves slower and it melts slower. We can also gain layers on top of it if you're above the snow line. But if you're underneath it, then the glacier moves a lot faster and it melts quicker, you know. So it wouldn't make sense for us to build the tunnel down there. But still, because it's moving all the time, this glacier has moved, or this tunnel has moved 11 meters since we opened in 2015. If you look at it from above, like a bird view, then you can see how the tunnel has moved. And they've estimated that in the next 10 to 15 years, this tunnel is going to go underneath the equilibrium line, and therefore we can't have it open, because it will just open up. The ceiling will open up. So then they're going to have to, we call it a vein system of the glacier. Just come closer if you like. Oh, okay, yeah. You want to scoop down a little bit of the vein top. This church, I think, looks really fresh and new. We have to do it like every few months. The reason why I asked you to wait outside while I sang is because now we're all in here, our bodies kind of swallow the vibrations. So that's why there's better acoustic out there. But we've had a few weddings in here. I think four or five weddings. Last wedding was on 1st of January. Then we've had the tunnel or anything else, live. No one could hear it.
I could. Why don't I?
Give it a go. You can also sing a song. Right hand turn. And they went straight into the crevasse, the trap. Then they did the same thing again, right over there. And again we went into the trap. So then they had to call the guys from the south, and they told them that they were supposed to go the complete opposite direction, like right over there. So that's where the Matthew is. Us being here, or driving onto the glacier, it harms the glacier. And I said, yes, of course it does a little bit. Well, maybe not us walking on the glacier, because it's just very little difference. But maybe the trucks would be polluting a bit, But then what they do is to try to come, and of course, we get 80% of all of our fresh water from glaciers. I think in America you get 70%, which means when the glaciers disappear, they melt. Then this glacier alone is only 200 billion cubic meters of ice. But imagine all of the glaciers in Iceland. It's 11% of the hot tub, and then the cold tub. And I'm going to dare you to do it because it's really good for the skin, and the brain, and the heart, and the mental health. So, or if you want to really dare yourself, I go swimming in the sea. Check it out. It feels really good afterwards. So that's your challenge. Thank you.